Big things. We're going to be talking about all of that, books, relationships, how to approach businesses, community outreach, all of that. Make sure to tune in, like, subscribe, all of that. I'll probably have to do that again.
The format is real sickness, contagious. Here I come, Daisy. There you go, there you go.
How we get down, get down.
The format is real sickness, contagious. Here I come, Daisy. There you go, there you go.
How we get down,
Daisy. Here I come, Daisy. Here I come, Daisy. Here I come, there you go. Here I come.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. Today I have my guest right here, Jess Perez.
Hey.
She is the co-CEO of Grtr Management. She is a creative entrepreneur, former radio host on Disney. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. I'm sure you're gonna drop tons of gems and value today, because I know you come with a lot of experience.
Yes.
And a lot of knowledge on this whole area of entrepreneurship, especially as a woman, especially as a woman of color. So let's get into that. Let's get
into it.
Yeah.
My fellow Dominicano.
Ya tú sabes.
This should be interesting.
So, tell me about yourself, tell the audience, what's some of your background?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the intro. As a lot of people may know, I did radio for about 7 years. Been in the business for 10 years. I'm a former Radio Disney host. I worked with major networks like SiriusXM, Telemundo, Univision, Music Choice, the list goes on. I am the co-founder of Grtr Management, which is a consultancy agency, and we focus on branding and speaking. I bring the creative aspect of brand content creation, anything that has to do with graphics, design. I bring that to the table, which is amazing because as a creative, I get to also showcase my talent and be who I am and bring the expertise that I've done throughout the years doing radio, being a board operator, and doing all the fun stuff that you get to see behind the scenes. I bring it to life.
Okay, so I know who your significant other is, my boy Castel. You already know?
Castel,
Shout out to Castel. So how did y'all two come together into this business venture?
Yeah.
So was it a more of a, okay, these are my strengths, these are my experience, and let's find a way how to turn this into a business and get money out of this? Or what was the driver behind forming this idea of Grtr Management? Yeah,
well, Castel and I, prior to doing Grtr Management, Castel had his own business doing CJRB Inspirations. As you know, he's a 3-time author, he's a speaker, and he was just doing so much individually. So was I. I was doing radio, I was helping the community through my prom princess, I was doing a lot of television work. So we just basically came together about a year ago and we said, you know what, we are doing so much together. We were going out speaking to different events, doing a lot of community service, doing public speaking, mentorship programs for different colleges and schools, that we decided one day to just dissolve our individual companies and come together and create Grtr Management and bring both of our skill sets and just do something, as the name says it, greater. And that's how it really basically came about. Just bringing our talents together, and of course, as you know, he's an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, and we just make it work. It makes sense, two entrepreneurs to come together, and of course, the whole idea of becoming an entrepreneur is also to monetize your skill sets and to solve problems that people don't normally think about. That's where we come into play.
Okay. I heard you mention about Prom Princess.
Yes.
I do want to get into that. However, I do want to touch on, so it's interesting, both of you are entrepreneurs and together in a relationship.
Yes.
I'm assuming a lot of the pros, obviously working together, getting clients, making deals happen, working on projects, is like, What are some of the cons to that? Yeah, because it's interesting, right?
Yeah. There are cons, of course, in every relationship. I think that working with Castell, first of all, we get each other because you have to understand who the person is as an individual and as a business person. I am not the logistic numbers person, and I think that when we came together to do Grtr Management, we definitely had like this board meeting, and we definitely came to play, okay, this is what I bring to the table. I am all creatives. Castell is all logistics numbers. And I think when you understand that, where your partner falls into play in a business aspect, it just makes things easier. So those are the pros. The cons is, of course, there are times where I just don't want to deal with business because it kind of like makes me feel, it takes away my creative mindset. I just want to focus on like designing. I want to focus on being a creative. But as a creative, you need to understand that you need to know a little bit of everything. Like you need to know how to monetize your skill sets, or else you will continue to fail. And I think it's important to know that as a creative entrepreneur. So I would think that's one of the pros and cons.
Okay, dope. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
I think that's beautiful. I know Castell and I spoke about this a while ago. About I think he's told me he's passionate about the idea.
Yes.
That two entrepreneurs should be in a relationship together.
It's amazing. It's amazing because when you're with an entrepreneur, that person understands your schedule, that person understands your passion, that person understands why you're in it for, right? And to be with somebody that has the same mindset, it just makes sense. Like, I can't question why Castell is up at 3 o'clock in the morning on his laptop, because I know he's focused on what he needs to be focused on. Or he can't question why am I out at 7, 8 o'clock networking at an event for XYZ company. You know what I mean? It just makes sense to be with someone that has the same mindset. And it attracts good energy to our relationship. And you don't have to question anything like, oh my gosh, why this person is on his laptop? Why is this person doing that? You know, it just makes sense to be with another entrepreneur. And it gives me peace, to be honest, because I've always wanted to be with someone that has aspirations in life and has a vision. You know, I think as a woman, you need to keep that in mind, that whoever you decide to be with has a vision for themselves as an individual, but also when you come together, because it just gives you hope and it just gives you structure to your relationship. For sure.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, because entrepreneurship, at the end of the day, I think it's a growing industry in itself nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are coming into this the economy is kind of forcing people at this point, wanting to do side hustles, et cetera, and like, hey, babe, let's do this together, and having that conversation. So I think both of you coming together and doing it, making it happen, you two could probably even be serving as role models for other aspiring entrepreneur couples.
Oh, wow.
In order to, make that happen as well.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of pressure. But thank you. What you see it's real. We are who we are on social and in person. And I know for a lot of people, they're like, no, social media is fake. Social media is not real. But we are who we are on social and in real life. Like, I'm not going to post something that I'm not living. You know what I mean? And we always keep that in mind. And we're so happy to hear that, because we don't take that lightly. Just to see that other people see us as role models is kind of like, wow, like, obviously it makes us feel like we're doing something right. But we also want to make sure that we're living in our truth. And we want people to see that, because we're projecting it. So that's important to us as well.
Yeah, I think that's important, that the whole social media thing, right? So you have people on one side saying, as you just said, that, that's all fake, I don't like posting, I don't even want people in my business, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But especially if you're trying to make moves happen, even career-wise or entrepreneurial, business-related wise, it is very important at the end of the day. But I think it's interesting where like what's that line of maybe sharing too much or sharing too little? You know, like what aspects of my life do I share, or maybe that I'm gonna intentionally probe into myself to become uncomfortable, maybe to share more of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would have to say, as a branding expert, I would have to say that for me, my social media is my portfolio. It's my bread and butter. It's how I get booked. It's who I am. You know, not only am I being a role model, which is like a big word, but I am a role model for my nieces, you know, for my family who is seeing me grow in my career, for, you know, my little stepdaughter, Castell's daughter. Like, you know, these are the people that I consider, you know, that I am a role model to, who are seeing me. So I have to make sure that everything I post on social media is not only a reflection of who I am, but also a reflection of my partner, Castell, also a reflection of my nieces who are 17, 22 years old. And I think that it's important to keep in mind that your social can get you opportunities. And as a branding expert, I also look at, you know, my work, I take my work as quality. You know, like, if you say that you are an author and you're posting something that, let's say, popping bottles every Friday in the club, it's like, do you really think that people are going to book you? Do you think that that's a good way of you presenting yourself on social media and it's reflecting your work? And I think I see it as that. I don't know if that answers your question.
Of course. And I agree. Unless that person is a rapper and writing a book on how to be a rapper, I guess, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It all comes down with the brand.
Yeah, I mean, people need to keep in mind that, you know, of course you want to showcase your journey. Of course there are times where I'm like, you know, I want to share a little bit more. Like my family, like my parents, they live in Dominican Republic. I haven't seen my father in 2 years, and there are certain things that I would love to express and share. But also, like, people don't really care about your feelings. I'm sorry to break it down like that, but people don't really care about your feelings like that, and sometimes it's good to protect that, to protect your feelings. And if you have social media to showcase your emotions, then that's your brand. That's good for you, but that's not my brand. And I think it starts from who you are, who do you want to target, and who's your audience, and what's your brand like. I think it's important to know your brand.
That's dope. I appreciate hearing that, because honestly, I've never even heard it in that perspective. So if you listen to like Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yes.
It's all share. Something's happening. You going to the bathroom? Nah, I'm trying to take.
But of course he's gonna say that because he owns Instagram and he owns all these platforms. So of course he's gonna tell you to share. It's more beneficial for him to tell people to share.
He owns stakes in like all of these platforms.
He owns all of it. Did you not know?
I know.
So of course,
I know
someone
that.
that's like anyone. That's like us, Grtr Management. You know, we want people to repost us. We want people to come to Grtr Management. It's just part of the business. You know what I mean? We all love Gary, of course. I love Gary. He's a powerhouse entrepreneur. But we also need to keep in mind that, you know, the whole point is to do what you do and do it well, and stop focusing on XYZ. Focus on what you do it well. I don't care if you are a janitor, I don't care if you work for McDonald's, but when you do work, do it outstanding. Where people, you're gonna leave people talking good or bad, but they're still talking.
Bro, you're spitting straight bars. Like,
thank you, you know?
like for real. Like, I like how you put it where it's like the vulnerability aspect. Because one thing that I have noticed, honestly, and we're talking about protecting your feelings on the social media ecosystem, I have noticed, though, on the flip side to that vulnerability is a trending and sellable thing. I don't know if you agree with me, but that's something that I feel like that I've personally come across. So, for example,
Does that attract you though? Like, do you stop and you're like, oh wow, like that?
Sometimes it does. If it's like out of the ordinary, yeah, it does.
Do you comment? Do you engage?
Do I mean, man, I don't know.
Okay.
Depending on how I feel, I don't know. So so what I'm getting from that, are you saying that that's a dub? Like, that's a dub?
It's, well...
A dub meaning, like, that's not happening. That's not
that is not happening. I got come on.
No, that's for the audience. For the audience. I don't know who's watching.
I'm like, I totally got you. I'm from downtown Brooklyn, but I totally got you.
You know what I mean? Let me stop.
You are hilarious. So I think that, listen, I think we need to start being more leaders than followers. Again, there are certain things, there's an audience for everything. That type of audience and that type of content is not what attracts me as an entrepreneur. I am attracted to people that are on my level of mindset. Like, I'm attracted to, like, anyone that's like posting about business because that's where I want to grow. Anyone that's posting about like book clubs because I love to read books and I want to grow in the aspect of knowledge, and gaining knowledge. So it depends, like who's your audience, you know what I mean? But again, if you're trying to grow your business, I would kind of stay away from, emotions. And especially for us women, I think that I've learned this the hard way. Like, people just don't like to deal with emotional women. Like, it just doesn't go hand in hand. When you're an emotional being, it's hard for women to do business when you're putting your emotions involved, And I think that I've had to, like, tone down the emotion. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm super sentimental. So I've had to learn, by reading books, being with a business partner, to set my emotions aside and look at things more practical.
Cool. So even talking about, I think I'm just even going to continue a little bit more on the subject because I think you're dropping bars out here.
I'm going to start rapping them in here.
Put the beat on here. All right. So let's practicality. So even for somebody who may not be immersed in the business world or the business, taking advantage of business content online, for the average person who has a job, maybe they have the thought of having some type of side hustle, but even wanting to excel career-wise in regards to social media, I think those are still bars because, so for example, how you mentioned, even if you're working at McDonald's, and I don't know, you like sweeping, mopping the floors, like, and you want to be the best mopper. I mean, I'm lying, but maybe, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
You know what? We've all seen people, let's say, for example, you go to a retail store and you see people that they hate their job. Mm-hmm. And that could totally hinder a blessing because you don't know who might be walking into that retail store. It might be Janet Jackson. It might be somebody that you might shed your light just by smiling, and it can create an opportunity. But the problem is that a lot of people think that they're too cool for an opportunity. And I think that if you take your job, I don't care what it is, and you perform with excellence and you're outstanding, that's going to create blessings because you're going to receive it doing, of course, what you do with so much like happiness and joy and just welcoming things that you don't have at the present moment, but you're attracting that just by smiling at people, just by saying hello. And I think that it starts with something, I know it sounds like really, really minimal, but I think it's something powerful that I live by every day. Even if I take the train, I like to smile at people. Even when I have a one-day gig, I love to shake somebody's hand or even, smile at an elderly person because you don't know what a smile or a handshake can take you it can take you far sometimes, and I don't think we realize that as human beings, that something so minimal could like open opportunities for you.
Yeah, I think at that point it becomes more of a attitudinal shift,
Yeah.
a mindset shift,
Yeah.
appreciation
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to like remind myself of that all the time. I once read that your attitude determines your altitude. And I always keep that in mind no matter where I go. I have to put myself on check too, because you know the Dominican comes out sometimes. So I'm like,
So you're like, plátano con salami.
so you know, plátano con salami and all of that.
Yo,
So I have to, you know, I have to remind myself because again, we're human beings, and every day is a learning experience.
Dope. Thank you for the bars. Like, just
You're welcome.
off the back, yes.
You're welcome.
Let's take a shift. Prom Princess. What does that consist of? How did you get into that? Where do you see that going if you still plan on doing that in the long run?
Yeah, so the Jess Prom Princess giveaway, I started back in 2012. I did a fundraising gala, and I don't know if you know Chef Kelvin. I partnered with Chef Kelvin at that time, Inglot Cosmetics. I went all out. It was like my first time donating prom dresses to young girls who are in inner city schools in New York. At that time, I donated over 150 dresses. I had partnered with MacTac Dresses and prom.org. They donated so many dresses. We were able to like bless so many young girls to attend prom. As you know, prom can be very expensive in New York City. You got the limo, you have hair, you have makeup, tuxedo, and it was something that was placed in my heart. I believe that God just blessed me with the possibility of being a vessel to donate these dresses and just give back to the community. It's something that has been instilled in me by my parents to not forget where you come from, and also be able to, if you have the opportunity, to give back to your community. So it really started off from like partnering with other people and donating dresses. Now we have donated over 250 plus dresses. This year we had the opportunity to donate dresses to different high schools throughout New York City and the Bronx, which was really awesome. That's something that you can see on my Instagram. Also through Grtr Management, we're bringing in the Prom Princess as one of our nonprofit organizations under Grtr Management, which is really awesome. Next year I plan to do it bigger and greater. But yeah, it's a process where we go to different schools in New York. So we select the girls. They have to basically write an essay saying what does prom mean to them, what does beauty mean to them. And according to the essay, we have judges that select the best one. There is a grand prize winner. The grand prize winner gets 2 dresses, plus the photo shoot, plus the hair, the makeup, everything. So it's not only donating dresses, but also mentoring these girls who are entering a new, chapter in their life, which is, it could be high school, it could be college. So that's something that I just love. It's something near and dear to my heart to be able to give back to these young girls.
So why prom dresses, and what does prom and beauty mean to you?
Oh, I like that question. Why prom dresses? Well, when I came back from Dominican Republic, I did my last 2 years of high school here in New York City. I actually went to the Brooklyn School for Global Studies right in Cobble Hill, and I remember wanting to go to prom, and my dad was like, "This is crazy expensive. Like, you just had a quinceañera, and now I have to like pay for a prom dress and a limo, and you want your hair like Beyonce? What's going on?" So I had to wear a dress from a next door neighbor because my dad was just like, he wasn't having it. He was just not having it. I was like, I didn't really get the full prom experience. I was like, I want my own dress. Like, why do I have to wear somebody else's dress? Even though it was like, literally, like, prom is like, 2-3 hours and it's done, but I feel like I didn't get my prom experience. I didn't get my own dress. So it really came with that experience and that vision of saying every girl deserves her own prom experience. So that's how that came about.
Sheesh. Note to self, because I got baby girl, you already know.
Yes.
Baby alegra, note to self. Make sure to get alegra a really good prom dress.
It's meaningful. It's like, you know, it's like you going into your womanhood career-wise. You know what I mean? It's just like you're going to a next chapter. You just want to go into that glow, that high school last glow moment, as I call it. So everyone deserves their own prom princess experience, just like everyone deserves, you know, their own quinceañera experience.
Okay.
Sweet 16, for those that don't know.
Okay.
So what was the other question?
Beauty.
What does beauty mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
I love that question. Beauty means to me confidence. It means to be intellectual. It means to know yourself internally. That's what beauty means to me, and to love yourself. Yes.
Do you feel like, obviously society has a lot of, let's say, very strict definitions of what beauty is.
Yeah.
Right? Do you feel, and I think so, when I think of beauty, and I agree, I think a lot of the internal stuff is super, super important. Like,
Totally.
more important than the physical stuff at the end of the day. Though the physical aspect, because I see people that, when it comes to health, and I guess just your body, like I think it's important to be physically fit. Not saying you got to look like a supermodel or whatever, but what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that, and everyone has different challenges, of course, you know, everyone has a different journey of life, but do you think it's important for people to, just generally across the board, to aspire to be their best, I don't know, even physically, you know, in that sense?
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I think that the older I get, the more knowledgeable I understand or get about health and wellness. I think that your wellness, your well-being is so important. It's a reflection of who you are, right? And I think it's so important to take health seriously. And as women, I want to speak to women, because this actually happened to me last year, where I put my health in the back. It wasn't a priority, and it really it took a toll out of me. And it wasn't until I was sitting down and, you know, in a hospital and like with my head down saying like, yo, I've literally been running around from events to events, building businesses, and none of it means nothing if you are not healthy. It doesn't mean anything if you're not healthy. Because you can't build business if you're not healthy. You can't run around from network to networking if you're not healthy. So I think that it's important to be healthy, to make health your priority. And I think that is a reflection of beauty as well.
Lit. See, you're just dropping bars on top of bars. And gems. You know what I'm saying?
I see you listening. Do you want to write down some notes?
Oh, we got the recording. We're recording right now. You're good. You know, but, you know, I heard somebody told me out there, a little birdie.
What?
That you coming out with some books.
I am.
Oh, word?
I am.
Okay.
So this is more than a purpose project. This is something that God really placed in my heart many years ago, and I didn't even know how to start. I love children. I don't know if you know, but I love children. I'm like a magnet when it comes to like children. I don't know if they see that I have like this little kid inside me. It's like, it's incredible like how I attract children. So even working at Radio Disney, I always kept in mind that I wanted to do something special for children. And many years ago, God placed in my heart to write children's books. I didn't know how to start until I obviously came across my purpose mate Castell, who's a 3-time author, and he's been like helping me on this journey of publishing my own books. So it's a series of 12 books. It's called The Adventures of Susana, and it's a Spanish and English book where kids and parents are going to be able to interact and teach each other Spanish and English, which is really awesome. And we take you on an adventure, not like Dora the Explorer, but we take you on like really happy adventures where it's like traveling, you know, something as like going to the park and learning new words like tobogán, which a lot of people don't know how to pronounce in Spanish, which is slide. That's how you call slide in Spanish, tobogán. You didn't even know, right?
I didn't know that.
You're like, what is that?
I'm like, tobo what?
That's exactly. So there's gonna be a lot of words that we're gonna be able to teach in Spanish and in English, and it's gonna be a cool translation book for parents.
I haven't even read the books, and I'm learning words out here.
Yes, it's a series. It's not only one book; it's a series. It's a 12-series book, which is cool.
You're gonna put them out one by one?
One by one, yes.
Okay.
Yes. One by one, I'm gonna build up. I'm actually gonna show you the book cover.
Okay, lit.
Behind scenes.
Lit.
But yeah, that's fun.
When should we expect the first one? Putting some accountability pressure right here.
Before the year ends. Before the year ends.
Oh, yes, that's really fast.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. I know you mentioned Radio Disney. How did you get into that? Because that's a big brand and all of that. Yeah. How did you get into that? Yeah.
You took me back. Actually, I got into Radio Disney because I created my Prom Princess event. So at the time, I was creating the Just Prom Princess giveaway, and I wanted to get on the radio. And I said, what better radio station than Radio Disney to promote my Prom Princess event? Story short, I found a number, a person on Google, and I reached out to this person. I was calling like every day at all times. This lady probably thought I was so crazy, but I finally got a hold of someone that was working at the in the production department. And I told her, I was like, hey, my name is Jess. I want to get on your radio show because I have this Prom Princess event happening in New York. And I want to promote it to everybody in New York City. Like, I was just like super hype. And she was like, this sounds amazing. But she was like, we can't bring you on the radio station to promote this. And I was like, okay. I was like, but I would love to send you photos. She was like, yeah, definitely. She gave me her email. I emailed her the photos. I was like, this is my fundraising gala. This is how it went. There was like so many people. She was like, this is incredible. After I got that email, obviously I was going to use it. So I literally like emailed her every Friday saying, happy Friday, Robin, every Friday. Like, every Friday. And then it turned into an opportunity. She said, she replied back to me and she said, hey, do you speak Spanish? And I said, yeah, Spanish is my first language. She's like, we are opening a multicultural division department and we need an on-air host that can speak Spanish and English. And I was like, I am your girl. I am your girl. She's like, can you audition? Can you come in and audition for us? And the rest is history. I went in, auditioned, got the job. I was the first Afro-Latina Radio Disney host.
Wow. You're in the history books right now.
Thank you. That's how that happened.
Wow.
Yep.
I guess that it shows, as you were speaking prior, I guess, like, being good to people, putting out that positive energy, and taking advantage of not being too cool for those opportunities.
Yeah, and just doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes we feel like we're stuck. I mean, it happens to everybody. There are times where I feel like I'm stuck. I'm like, what things are not happening? Why opportunities are not coming? But you just have to continue doing the work. The blessings will come. Your moment will come. Your moment to succeed will come. It might be 40. It might be 50. You know? I'm not to scare you, but I'm just saying you might pop at 40 or 50, and because you stopped at 39, you know, you gave up that 39 years old. It didn't happen for you at 40, 41.
That hurt me.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel you though. Persistence.
I've been doing this for 10 years. I'll be 33 in December. God willing.
Spring chicken.
So, you know, and I feel like I'm now getting started. I feel like I'm now really coming into this entrepreneurship businesswoman that I know I was purposed to be. So it just, things take time, you know? It takes time.
And you know, about that, so one of the major things that I learned recently is the importance of picking one thing and sticking to it. And not jumping from one thing to the next thing, and you know, and dropping that, starting another thing, dropping that, starting another thing. Because that was me for like a long time. Like, oh, I'm super hyped. Oh,
that was me too.
It's not working now.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Forget this. Let me do this now.
Yeah.
And
I can relate.
Yeah, that's not the recipe for success.
Yeah.
So definitely something that I learned, and I definitely connect with.
Yeah, I can relate because my creative brain thinks so many things. Like, I remember growing up and my dad used to tell me this all the time: can you pick one, please, child? Because he used to take me to rollerblading classes. Yes, I got medal, guys. Fun fact, I was the dopest rollerblading person out there. So he used to take me to all these activities like ballet, I used to dance, I was in every activity that you can think of, swimming class, like I was in everything. And my dad used to tell me, like, can you just pick one and focus on one? And for me, that was like, no, like, I'm a creative, I can do this, I can do that, I can multitask, I can do everything. But when you realize as you get older that it doesn't align with business, you can't be everywhere when it comes to business, because the money's not going to come everywhere. The money's going to come when you focus on one thing only. Which is, yeah, obviously, like, be open, and, you know, it doesn't mean you can't do X, Y, Z, and D, but if you really want to make money and you want to succeed, business comes with consistency in doing one thing, for sure. I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah, and I agree, and I learned that too.
Yeah.
Yep. So one thing that stood out to me that you were mentioning was your phase of fundraising for your first event. Yeah. So I've heard when it comes to fundraising, a lot of organizations or people, they tend to even waste or spend more money putting together an event than they actually receive. What was your experience like fundraising, putting together this event, for example? How did that go? How did you learn this?
Yeah.
What you got? Yeah.
Well, at the time, there wasn't really like, Instagram wasn't really booming how it is now. So I believe in going out and meeting people in person. I'm still like very traditional when it comes to like networking. I love shaking people's hand. I love talking to people in their face. I'm sorry about the text messaging, but you better call me. I have to hear your voice because it's just a different type of connection. So at the time, I was looking for sponsors. I wasn't really looking to raise money for my fundraising gala because I already had, my network was pretty strong. So I had a friend who was already a part of Inglock Cosmetics. He was a manager there and also a makeup artist. I already knew Chef Kelvin at the time, who was like, I believe Chef Kelvin was at the Strand Bistro. He was the executive chef at the time at Strand Bistro, and he donated all the tapas and desserts. I already had a connection, a liquor sponsor, because I used to network a lot. I used to go to Greenhouse a lot. I used to go to different places, and I would network with the right people. So I think that it's important when you do try to do a fundraising gala, think about your connection. Think about the people that can help you, because there are people that are out there that are willing to help. So for me, it was just like just going out, and not going out just for fun, but going out for the right connections and networking with the right people. And that's how it all happened. I remember how I got the prom dresses. I went to MacTac. This is in the Fashion District around 34th Street. I literally took, at the time, obviously I didn't have a laptop, so I printed out my whole presentation of what my prom princess was about, and I went with my whole presentation. I was flipping pages and telling the owner, like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, and these are the dresses, and this is what I went with the whole strategy of what I wanted to do. And as you can see, strategy, branding, it all ties into what I bring to Grtr Management. But definitely going out and meeting people in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you. Yeah, I think networking is super important. Meeting people. I've identified that as like actually one of my core strengths. Like my main number one strength actually.
Dope.
Grtr Management.
Yes. That's my baby.
A little birdie told me like this birdie be telling.
This birdie.
I know. This birdie be wild.
Where did you bring this birdie from? DR? Where did you bring this birdie? This birdie gotta be Dominican.
Es un birdie chimoso.
Word.
Yo, I'm done. So yeah, I heard you got Google.
Yes.
As a recent
Yes,
client.
yes,
Big
yes,
things,
yes.
big things.
Big things.
Talk to me more about what are the services that y'all providing from Grtr Management.
Yeah.
Where y'all see this going in the future? What are the some plans going on? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, yes. So Castel landed a partnership under Grtr Management with Google, which is so amazing. You guys definitely need to go to the website and see all the work that we're doing, Grtr Management, grtrmanagement.com. And within Grtr Management, what we do is we do branding and speaking. Under branding, we do image consulting, we do content creation, we revamp social media, anything that has to do design works, all of that good stuff from brand strategy to content creation. That's what we do. And we also do the speaking aspects. We do workshops, we do keynote speeches, we go into different colleges, providing our services and also educating and paying it forward. That goes under the speaking within Grtr Management. For sure. You want to know more about the Google? You gotta ask Cass. Confidential, but we're doing great work on the Google, which is taking our business to the next level, and we're just so grateful for that opportunity.
Okay, dope. Where could the audience find you? Yeah.
Yes, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ITS Jess Jes Perez. Also, make sure to follow the business, Grtr Management, on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. But the website is grtrmgmt.com. Also on all social media, you can find us at grtrmgmt. Yes, that's it.
Thank you for tuning in. I know for a fact you enjoyed this. There's no way you can't enjoy this right here. And I know you learned so much. If you took notes, if you didn't take notes, go back and rewind and then to take the notes and then apply everything you learned. But thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all of that, and share. You already know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
The format is real sickness, contagious. Here I come, Daisy. There you go.
How we get down.
The format is real sickness, contagious.